And welcome to a big developer update for FmvMaker. We proudly present you version 1.6 with the biggest change of all, the introduction of a visual editor based on Unity's visual scripting. And for a short introduction on how this all works and how you can build great FMVs with FmvMaker and the node-based editor, I'm giving you a short tutorial today. First of all, FmvMaker is still open source. Everything has been updated on our GitHub repository, including the documentation. So if you have any questions or want to look up any changes, the already very long documentation should answer all your questions. If there are still questions or problems, feel free to use the issue section of the GitHub repository or the comment section of this YouTube video. To start right away, I just created a new project in Unity 2022.2.7 to just show you that everything works out of the box. Everything is also updated on the Unity AssetStore, and we're just going ahead, open this in Unity, import the package version 1.6. There is still version 1. We will update and then import it, install and upgrade the dependencies, import everything that's in here. And we're ready to go. Here is the FmvMaker folder, the scenes folder, with the sample folders. Please note that the version with the config files will be deprecated in future versions, I guess beginning with version 2. So just make sure to start with the node-based editor already when planning new FMVs. Let's have a look. The graph circle FMV is here. We have here the FMV state machine, and under window visual scripting graph. We'll just place it over here, close the AssetStore window. And after clicking on the Edit Graph button, we see the graph here. Let's just talk about the project itself. It's the known circle FMV project, and everything is made up to work the same as the sample, this circle FMV sample before. The same goes for the dialog FMV sample, and I'll just click on play to show you that this still works. And to give you a better overview, we'll just we have to import the TextMove Pro Essentials. I forgot about that, sorry. Give me a second. And we'll pull the state graph down here just to have a better overview of what's happening. And let's try it again. Here we go. We're entering the game. We're in our first state. There is an looped video when focusing the game window and pressing the spacebar. I can always make items visible. For instance, my first item to pick up and the unique to next, which is just the navigation to the next state. I'll just go over here. You see the mouse cursor changes when I hover over something that is clickable. Let's go here, and you see that the transition to the next state is already done. The same goes here for the next state, and everything we're seeing every time we're seeing our active state down here in blue color. Let's go back to the start state. If you look carefully or closely, you can see the state changes here with this ball traveling from state A to B. And for instance, let's pick this item up. As you see, we trigger a different video and the state will change accordingly. Let's go back. And everything is configured so that the item, I'll just press I'll just press I to make the inventory visible. Click on my first item to use it, and we have another route here to the next state, which will just trigger the video transition. And everything is done without coding, except a little preparation, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Everything is done here with the visual scripting and with the custom nodes and events that are provided by FmvMaker. So let's dive into the demo scene a little bit, and then let's try to recreate this demo from the beginning. First of all, you'll notice that there is a visual scripting scene variables object here. This is already set up for you, so when trying to start with a new project, you can just copy the scene and start over. All the important projects are linked here for use to be usable with the graph, which is linked in the FMV state machine object here. The custom logic is a script which will interact with our FmvMaker events, which are already logged here in the console, like started, video event started when an item is used, or the video ended, and so on. We'll talk about two in a second. Here at the FMV video view are custom events. You see the custom object, custom logic object linked here, and the methods also linked to the specific events that are emitted by FmvMaker. When we're checking the events here, we can already see that they are having more or less the same structure, and there is data that can be used to further refine events or create logic based on this interface. But you can also link events without this interface, so just go ahead and use this as a blueprint. Next thing is the FMV video view object, where some of the key bindings are linked. The skip video key is escape, the pause video key is P, save game video key, which is new by the way, is S, the quit game key is Q, and show all available clickables in the current scene is space, which we already have seen. And all the other references are already there. Here is the FMV player object, the FMV UI, which is divided into a video elements panel and inventory, and the FMV helper object, which only has the online video source mapping file linked here. Everything else is basically the same, and I guess we'll just quit talking and start creating. Let's take the scene, duplicate it with Ctrl D, and call it graph circle FMV scratch. Open it, and let's see, there is the state machine linked here. We'll just remove this, and let's say, okay, let's create a new graph. Let's call it from scratch. And if we're switching to the state graph object, everyone who has worked with Unity Visual Scripting before already knows this graph and the substates we can create here. That's basically all we are doing here. We just give it a name, call it from scratch, summary, recreate demo scene from scratch. Okay, double clicking to enter the state here and remove all the default nodes. I just want to have the start node here to really start from scratch. When creating your own FMV and not relying on the demo scenes, there are a few things you have to consider first. First of all, do you want to use online video data or local video data? When having local video data, make sure to place this here in the resources folder, folder called FmvMaker videos. Create a folder here and place all your videos there, and then make sure to link them accordingly. Or if you wanna use online data, make sure to use static video sources. Video linking, like, I don't know, on YouTube is not supported by Unity yet. Maybe it will be supported in the future. In our specific case, especially when looking at the FmvMaker helper, we have the circle online video mapping file here. As you can see in the inspect already, there is a link, in this case to the GitHub repository, which links the videos and the specific name, which will be used further on in the project. Just make sure everything is linked here. And the second step is to switch to scripts, and the graph under models, there is the FMV video enum, which, I'll just open it, contains an enum with all the video files that should be used in your project. I added all the demo video files here. Make sure to first have all your video files, link them here and place them in that enum. This will be our, let's say, database for choosing videos to work with our FMV graph. Okay, so I guess let's get started here. Let's go to the start state in the script graph. I'll just make it a little bit bigger. We won't need the video screen now, only later on. Create a new node, right click, and let's call it on enter state. And when we first load the game, the first thing we want to do is to load our inventory. So add node, right click, add node, FmvMaker, the load inventory node. Here we go. And this will, as the name says, load our inventory from scratch from the save data that's already there. If there is no save data, it will be created by saving the first time, and if there is no inventory, nothing will be loaded, obviously. So that's it. So we have our start state here, and we want to go into the first state that will be the starting point of our game. So let's create a new script state. Let's call it, I don't know, unique state. Where are we starting? Let's remove again all the Unity events. You can enter the state by double clicking, just in case. That will be a very new way of working. And there are the two windows, the graph inspector and the blackboard. We won't really need the blackboard, so we can just disable it, and the I field here will be our graph inspector. We will need that, by the way, so make sure this stays here. So let's click on start, right click, make transition, go to unique state, and as you see, there is the transition graph symbol here. And let's call this intro video to our FMV game. Double click to enter, and as this node will be needed to trigger the transition ourselves, we will just make sure everything starts here. So on start, when the game is started, this was the wrong one, Let's try it again. Here we go. And on start, I want to play a video. And for playing videos, there is a special node here, add node, FmvMaker, the FMV video node. As you can see here, there are always these green arrows which will indicate the flow of our game. We'll just say, okay, after we started, we want to play the first video, and the first video will be here our unique video name. And the clickables here, this number will define the number of inputs that are displayed. I just want to have one clickable here, so one target that is reachable without using items or something else, and the base data which we'll use when playing this video is located here at the FMV target video. And after this video is played, we will just have to move on and tell our game, okay, let's transition to the next state. Now let's check what should be visible here. So add node, FmvMaker, and the navigation node, which will just be a node that will enable the user to switch states to the next video state. And the next video state we will want to reach from here is the next unique video name. As you can see here in the graph inspector, you can give it a name here. Let's call it, I don't know, unique to next. Video target, we already chose the video target. It is not looping. We did not already watch this. We'll just want to have it into the lower right corner. So let's make it 0.7 from left to right and from bottom to top 0.2 to position it on the screen, and link this here to the clickable. Here we go, and our unique video name should have special data. So we're adding a node FmvMaker, the FMV navigation node 2. Here we go, and this will be our unique video. The video target will be the same as we chosen here. It's not looping, it's not already watched, and that should be on the center because we won't need, so this will not create a button. This will just support our FMV video node with the necessary data to display to play the video. Usually this is done automatically by transitioning, but on start we have to create it once to make sure that the right video is played. So just move this a little bit around to make it easier watchable. There we go. So we have one target here and one data source. Let's call it data source for our first video. And then we'll trigger the transition to the next state. So let's see if this already works. Save it and play. Here we go, the first video is loaded and we're entering the unique state here. And if we press spacebar, we see that the next video is already here for us to trigger. In this case, if there is no looping video like background video or something else, this would already be fine. But sometimes you want to have, well, let's say some kind of loopable video, so we have to override the outcome here with a new state data. So we'll just have to check within this state, when do we reach this state, how can we override it, and let's play a loopable video. And of course display the navigation item here, for instance the unique to next, or as we saw before, some kind of item here. First of all, you could basically delete this one here, the navigation node. I just leave it here to give you some kind of impression how this may look without the looping. And in the Unix it will just create a new event under the FmvMaker, which is called onVideoFinished. And we can now check if a video is finished, and this video will be a video that we want to receive. We just can go on with our transition. So for deciding which video to choose, there is a separate switch node under control FmvMaker switch on FmvEnum. And this is a special node because, as you see, there are lots of videos here, and I'm pretty sure that your video list will be pretty long as well. So you can shorten this list by setting the index of the starting and the ending here. I'll just call this 6, and you see only the first 6 videos will be displayed here. Okay, the video is finished. We're just passing through the data, and we're just telling FmvMaker, okay, I want to have the unique video name to be the source video from where we're coming, and we have to clear all the state data. So we just add a node FmvMaker exit state. This is just for cleaning up, and after we cleaned up, we want to start a new video. We'll just add a loopable video here. This is not necessary, by the way. You can make it way easier. Of course, there are a lot of more possibilities how to use FmvMaker, but this would be one of them. So adding the loop video node here, I'll just make this a little bit smaller. We won't need it anyways. Here we go. And we will need 2 clickables here. One is the item and one will be the navigation part. And the video that should be played is the unique idle video. This should be the loopable video, of course. And let's add a node for our navigation, which we have done before. Here we go. We can also copy it. I guess we just copy it from before. Let's go back to the transition, take this one, copy, go back in here, right click, paste. This was the wrong one. Go back again. This one is the one I wanted to copy first. The navigation part, and for everything that's an item or that's that you can pick up, add node, FmvMaker, FMV item node. Just place this here, call it, I don't know, first item. And what should we do when we pick it up? We just should play another video. And in this case, we just want to move down, and when we use it, we should display this video here. Everything else will stay the same, and we'll just have to place it somewhere on the screen at, I don't know, 0.2, lower left corner. Place it here on the clickable target, and we need the data source for this idle video again. So add node, FmvMaker, the navigation node, and let's call it unique idle. The view target will the unique idle video. Not needed, not needed, not needed, because this is data source. And basically that's it. We just recreated the first part of the FMV game. I'll just rearrange the nodes a little bit. There we go. We go again. This is just for canceling, exiting the state. Okay. Let's see if everything works. Let's press play. The first video is played, and after entering the first state, you saw everything was blinking blue for a moment. The video should loop, but we have an error here. The scripting canvas, sometimes that's happening. Just make it continue. Okay. Sorry about that. I forgot to set the is looping checkbox here. It's looping. Let's try it again. Sometimes the visual scripting graph will throw this error, but we can just unpause the editor and we see that our graph is now looping and the video itself is looping. Every time the loop finishes, the onFMV video finished event is called, because everything that's connected to the state will call this method, but we're only reacting to the video where we come from, so this will not go on here, and we're more or less stuck in the state unless we're clicking onto one of these two items. Let's stop the play mode. Let's see, we have everything done here, and as you can see, the FmvMaker events are our main way to switch the state. So every time a video is finished, we will switch the state and everything should work as expected. So as you saw before, we have now start the first state and we will now switch to the second state. Right click here, create script state, enter here, remove all the Unity methods, go back out and let's call it next state. This state can be entered via item usage or navigation. Let's leave it like this and go to Unix state, right click, make transition, click on next state, and as you see, we already have our transition here and we have an item here. So let's see if we can switch our states by using an item, and that's fairly easy because again the FmvMaker events will help us here. And let's go to events, FmvMaker, FMV inventory clicked. This is when an item is used, and we will now again leave the FMV state, delete all the data that was here before and go to an FMV video node, which will basically be our transition here. And we want to have one navigation from the next state onwards. Let's say this is the next unique video node, and FmvMaker navigation node is the first one. When reaching the next state, we want to have something to click to move on to the next state. So I will call this navigation to another, with the video target another unique video name, not looping, not watched, and let's say this is placed on 0 on the lower left corner. Here we go. and connect to the clickable, and of course we need data here, which is the reason because we'll need some data to play the video and to get the current state and so on. So the FMV inventory clicked will provide us with this result, which will be the base data for our next video node. And after this is finished, everything hopefully went the right way and we can trigger our state transition. And again, we can just give it a name here on item usage using our first item entering in the next state. The naming and the notes are really convenient, especially when having a larger graph, to never lose focus or the overview. Let's see inventory, we have to pick it up first. Okay, so when picking up the item, we'll have to leave our Unix state and enter another state, create script state, delete all the Unity methods, go back, place it down here, for instance, and call it another state. This is the last regular state which can be reached directly by picking up the item. Okay, and let's click here, right click, make transition, go down here, and in here we'll just add a new event on item pickup clicked. Again, we have to exit the last state to clean up everything and play a video, FmvMaker video node. We just want to have one clickable in the next state and use the video this one, set the trigger here. The result will be our data that we provide here, and the navigation item add node, FmvMaker navigation node. This will be our navigation back to the start state, which means different unique video name, different to unique. And we will place that on 0.5 in the middle, but on the top 0.7. Make that the clickable and the transition. Here we go. So we can pick up the video, but no, we can pick up the item. Where in this state we can't use it here. We have to make sure we're going up here, so where we can use our item. So we have to make another transition to go back up here, and this is fairly easy because it's basically the same as we've done before, events FmvMaker, but this time we're using another event called the navigation clicked event, which will just fire when we'll click a navigation item. And it's the same for this one, events FmvMaker, not the events, the FmvMaker nodes. Exit state, we will need the FMV video node here, and we won't need the clickables here, just the provided data, because we are going to reach the looped video state again, which already provides all the data we're providing. We're needing, and the video we're needing here is the different unique video name, and after everything went the right way, we can trigger our transition. This will also be the same For this one here, we won't need the clickables here. So we can just delete it for now and make it very simple here. So we're entering, we can pick up an item, we will go down here. Let's call it on item pickup. When picking up the first item, we'll transition to another state. This will just be navigation back to unique state. No summary needed here. This is fairly obvious. And this is on item usage will enter the next state. Let's try it. Here we go. We reach the unique state, the looping will begin. Nice, so we can either pick up the item or go to unique to next. The unique to next will not work because we haven't set our navigation transition here. We will just pick up the item. And another navigation here back to unique state. When pressing I, we can open our inventory and we see that here is the first item. When clicking on it, nothing happens. I'll just close the inventory for now and go back to the first state. Here we go, the transition goes up because of the on navigation clicked event. Here we go again, and we'll see that nothing is looping because this is our current entry, and the only video that is allowed to enter the looped state is the unique video name, but we're coming from the another state, so the different unique video name should be allowed too, and we just make it possible by linking it up to the FMV exit state to say, okay, we're allowed to go here too. And let's try it again. As you can see, I haven't saved my game yet. The item is not in my inventory. And I'll just pick up the item again. Here we go. As you can see, I got the item. I go back over here. The state switched. We're looping, and I'm now using the item to go to the next state. Everything worked. We're here, and we can do nothing here because we haven't specified yet, but as you can see, it's working fairly well, and it's also I'm hoping that this will work pretty intuitively. Okay, let's go on. We'll now have to work on our regular transition here. So click the unique state, make transition to the next state, and let's call it the navigation to next. No summary needed here because it's just navigating events FmvMaker on navigation clicked here. Let's exit our state, clean up everything, and let's say we need a FmvMaker video node. The transition here, only one clickable because we just wanted to go on to the another state then, and the result will just be our base data here, and add a node FmvMaker navigation node here. And this will be the navigation to another state, which will be another unique video game, and the position will be 0.2, 0.2. Link to the clickable. This should be the another next unique video game here, from our unique state to the next state, and trigger the transition only by navigation. So these two basically do the same. You can also configure them differently, because sometimes you may have the situation that you want to provide the user or the player extra items or extra navigation options when using a separate item, for instance a key, and feel free to play around as much as you like. For now, we'll just try to enter the next set by navigation. Let's click play. I'll just press spacebar various times to show you what I'm clicking here. So we're at the unique state, everything is looping, unique to next, and as you see, we'll now move to the next state. And here we are, having the next navigation, but there is no transition yet, so we'll add that now. Next state, make transition over here, down here. You can just try to make it a little bit more elegant. Let's go here, and as you might already guess, events FmvMaker on navigation clicked. You might already know the next one, exit state to clean up everything, and the next one should be pretty obvious too. Video note here, the another unique video. Feel free to give them a few better names than I have done here. We need one clickable. This will be the clickable that leads back to our first state, to the unique state, and the result will be the database for FMV target video, and add node FmvMaker navigation node here, and let's just call it from another to unique. This will be the different video game. There's no looping, no watched, and the position will be 0.5, 0.7, the same as we already had before when picking up the item. Link it to the clickable, so you can also freely use the copy paste method here. I'll just created it by hand, and well, that should be it. That should be the base graph for our graph circle FMV, and we'll just try to play it. I'll just make this a little bit smaller, move it together maybe over here. Yes, that looks good. Here we go, and let's move this down a little bit so we can just check if the graph is going the right way, and click on play. Here is the first video. We can pick up the item. We'll move down here. Nice, we can move up here. And now, just to show you that the saving system is working too, I'll press S. And as you can see, the data is saved in a JSON file. I'll just stop the game, play again, and we'll just start from the start video. You can change that as well. We're at the first state, and when I open now the inventory, we see that there is an item already loaded. I'll just click it to show you that we can move to the next state. Here we go. And we can just move to another state. And we can move again up here and circle around in our video. As I said, I will just fix the visibility of the inventory items. This will just be updated. Maybe it will be FmvMaker 1.6.1 or something like this, but everything else should work. And just by having a look at the other demo scene, for instance, the dialog FMView, this will work very similar. The graph dialog FMView, of course. This will be a lot simpler, so we'll just, I guess, just shortly talk about it before implementing it. The start will be the same. On enter state will load the inventory. The starting event FMV video node will be the starting video. It will be our first navigation node and the transition. And in the start state, this is a little bit more complicated. We'll just check from which video we're coming. In this case, we're circling in our dialog, so every dialog option should lead back to the idle video, or for instance to another state. You can choose freely here. I change the start and the end index here to just display the videos I need. Exit the current state, loop the video, and display all the dialog options as navigation nodes here. And only the idle video will have this FMV navigation node as base data. And every time we click on some kind of dialog option, we'll just circle back here. The reason why I split this into two different scenes and graphs is having all in one scene may be a little bit too complicated, especially by bigger projects. So feel free to just split up the scenes in some kind of navigational stuff and the dialog stuff in separate scenes too, but feel also free to experiment around. Maybe you'll find some cool solutions how to handle that perfectly. And let's just have a look on how the dialog will work. Just playing the demo scene. After watching the start video, just can choose from various options, choosing option 1. So you can see we're circling around here and get back into our state. I'll just zoom out a little bit. Here we go. And this is option 2. Going here. And as soon as this option video is finished, we'll come back here to the idle state. And that's it. Simple as that. The graph will, of course, look a little bit more complicated here. But as I said before, feel free to experiment. Maybe you'll find some options or some possibilities to use it in a different way. Just one word here, the clickable object prefab here, there are two different prefabs. One is opaque and one is transparent. For every time you want to make sure that the user sees all the options or the places where you can click, for instance, items or navigation stuff, use the transparent, the opaque prefab, and for everything else which should be blended into the video itself and should just be a clickable area, use the transparent one. So that's it. That's the basic tutorial for FmvMaker. I hope this will help you create awesome games. Make sure to leave a comment, like the video, and let me know if there are any cool games out there, FMV games which you created with this tool. So goodbye for now and see you in the next video.